Hello friends, welcome to the session on Public Service Delivery in India, Issues and Challenges. The political economy of a country has a major role to play in the development of its policy process and reform agenda. The interplay of state, non-state actors and interest groups in a democratic and federal polity like India defines the way and extent to which the policies and reform agenda gets effectively implemented. People want good service from the public money that is spent. How this aim can best be attained? Fundamentally, Julian Lee Grant suggests four models for doing so. The first is trust, that is, where the professionals and managers and others who work in public services are trusted to deliver a good service. Secondly, it is command and control, where those workers are instructed or in other ways directed to deliver a good service by highest authority. Thirdly, it is voice, where users of services communicate their views about the quality of the service directly to the service providers. And fourthly, it is choice and competition, where users choose the service they want from those offered by competing providers. In India, a conference of chief secretaries was held in 1996 in New Delhi to develop an agenda for effective and responsive administration. The conference gave some major recommendations. Public accountability should be interpreted in a broader sense to include public satisfaction and responsive delivery of public services. The citizens' charters should be introduced phase-wise for as many service institutions as possible, and the citizens' charters should be introduced in the departments of the central and state governments, starting with those with a large public interface. The first directive of the Union government to the ministries and departments to initiate the exercise of formulation of citizens' charters was given in December 1996, forwarding a copy of the citizens' charters and requesting the ministries and departments to identify areas which have wide public interface. In May 1997, the Conference of Chief Ministers was held in New Delhi, adopting an action plan on effective and responsive government. The three main areas of the action plan discussed in the Conference of Chief Ministers were: firstly, making administration accountable and citizen friendly; secondly, ensuring transparency and right to information; and thirdly, taking measures to motivate civil services. Despite all concerns for effective implementation of citizens' charters, there was little evidence of improved public service and effective, accountable and responsive administration actually being delivered. In case of many ministries, departments, organizations, although a citizens' charter has been adopted, it remains more of a ritualistic exercise without generating any capacity for people to use charter commitments to obtain service improvement or for fulfillment of organizational commitments. Most of these charters fail to create adequate space for citizen or stakeholder participation in review, monitoring and evaluation of charters. Some of the challenges identified were aligning public service delivery performance in India with citizens' expectations, institutionalizing continuous improvement and assessment of performance in the government organizations against clear and improving standards, benchmarking quality of service delivery by government organizations and grading them on performance, providing government organizations involved in public service a scheme for acquiring and retaining a symbol of excellence in service delivery. A certification scheme called Sevotam has since been launched to address some of these issues. Sevotam takes into account the unique conditions of service delivery by public service organizations in India, the sectoral and regional variations in service delivery standards, and offers a systematic way to identify weaknesses in specific areas and rectify them through systemic changes and process re-engineering. Obtaining a Sevotam symbol of excellence requires successful implementation of citizens' charters, service delivery preparedness and achievement of results, sound public grievance redress mechanism. With the adoption of Sevotam, India became the first country in the world to publish a requirement standard for quality management of public service delivery. The standard highlights management responsibility for customer focus, use of tools for achieving quality standards like service quality policy and citizens charters, internal and external communication requirements, documentation requirements, and the mechanism to implement, monitor, measure, and improve delivery. There are at least 3 critical issues that will impact realization of benefits in the form of actual service delivery improvements. First is the commitment from the highest political and administrative levels. That is, much success depends on the level of commitment, ownership, and leadership drive by the implementing agencies. Secondly, it is the stakeholder involvement in scheme design. Civil society representatives should be taken on board at appropriate stages like definition of service standards and assessment for Sevotam certification. Thirdly, it is change management interventions, particularly changing the culture and mindset of government officials from an administration focus to performance management. The search for solutions to public service problems emphasizes effectiveness and the need for equity. Thus, public service delivery needs to be understood in its context along with the goals of allocative efficiency, technical efficiency, and the accountability mechanism. Thank you.